Okay, we are back again for another quick lesson. We've kind of jumped into playing without really talking about how to hold your hands, how to sit, any of that kind of stuff. So before you get into playing a lot and perhaps starting to get some habits that we need to change later, let's talk about that for a little bit before we get into another new song, okay? When you are playing the piano or a keyboard, you want to have curved fingers. You want to use the ends of the fingers to play the piano, not even the fronts here, but the ends of the fingers. So how do you do that? If you were to play with straight fingers, you've got a pinky and a thumb that can't even reach, and you're not going to get much dexterity. So what we do is we curve the fingers up so that we are using the ends of the fingers to push the keys down. Now that might seem a little awkward, that might take some getting used to, but make yourself do that. You will thank yourself later if you fix this right now and you do that. Another thing that you want to be careful of is that your wrist goes straight across. We don't let our wrist drop down like this. We also don't want it up in the air. You want to have it straight across for the majority of what we're doing. Now there will be times where we move our wrist up and down like this, but for a majority of the playing, we're going to try to maintain straight across wrists here. Now, perhaps that means you need to get it on a different seat or put your piano or your keyboard on a different table or a different stand, adjust your stand. You want to have your elbows no lower than the keyboard. So you don't want to be reaching up to a keyboard. You also don't want to be way up higher and down to a keyboard like this. You want to have your elbows pretty even with the keyboard. So do what adjusting you need to do there for that. And start practicing using curved fingers so that the ends of the fingers are pushing down the keys. That's really important. Now you may notice at the beginning that your knuckles will cave in a little bit like this. That happens because those little muscles aren't used to working by themselves. So if your knuckles are caving in, just think about it, make yourself pop them back out, and try to get used to playing with rounded fingers, okay? We want to be relaxed when we play the piano, so if you find yourself tensing up like this, let those shoulders relax, arms are just at your side, hands are up at the piano. Okay, so going on now to actual playing instruction here. We are going to continue using just the white keys. That's called playing in the key of C. We're using just the white keys, but we're going to fill in another one of our chords. So we're going to fill in the F chord. Now, F chord is actually an F, an A, and a C. So if you get your hand up there, just like we did with the C chord, you can play it with your 1, 3, and 5 finger. In fact, if you kind of freeze your hand, you can play the C chord, pick your hand up, move it to the F, and the F chord. So you'll notice that we skip a letter, we skip a key when we play these chords. We have the F, we skip the G, we play A, we skip the B, and we play C. Now, to go between the C chord and the F chord when you're playing, there's a couple of options. This is the one we're not going to do right now. We're not going to have you play the C chord and then have you jump up to play the F and go back to play the C. Now, if you find that easy, you can do that, but I want to show you another way of doing it without having to move your hand around. Okay, do you remember we talked about the C chord, that you can spread it out, you can flip it around as long as you're using a C, an E, and a G, it's a C chord? Same principle here. As long as you're using an F, an A, and a C, you're using an F chord. So, I'm not sure how easily you can see this here, but if I take my F, A, and C, and I take this C, and instead of this C, I play this C down here, I now have a C on the bottom, and then an F, and then an A. But look what that does. That lets me play my C chord right here, and just by putting my pointer finger down on my F and moving my thumb up to the A, I can play the F chord without moving my hand around. So I have C is 5, 3, 1, and F is 5, 2, 1, okay? So here's my F chord, and if I want to put the C down, I can use this C instead, so that I can then keep my 5 on the C, my 2 fingers sitting over top of the F when I play a C chord anyway, so I'm going to use that F, and then I'm just going to move my thumb up a little bit here to play that, okay? So you're going to practice playing your C chord, C, E, G, and your F chord, C, F, A, and go back and forth between those two, okay? So then we're going to add the song of When I Survey the Wondrous Cross. Now, you can start this just by playing the C, the F, and the G. The C, the F, and the G. So you could, again, our introduction's at the bottom. And pour contempt on all my pride, when I survey the wondrous cross, on which the Prince of Glory died. Hopefully you have progressed a little bit beyond that, and you're now able to fill in the C chord, and hopefully the F chord after a little bit more practice, so that it will sound more like this. And pour contempt on all my pride, when I survey the wondrous cross, on which the Prince of Glory died. Ooh, excuse me, we're just playing a G. We're not playing the G chord yet. My richest gain I count but loss, and pour contempt on all my pride. So that's going to be our When I Survey the Wondrous Cross. Now you're going to take this F chord. We had it also in God is So Good. So now you're going to practice When I Survey, and you're going to practice God is So Good. And you're going to be able to put the F chord in. So God is so good is going to sound like that second line is going to be, God is so good, He's so good to me. Okay, so that's your project, your assignment for this week, your project that you're working on right now. Yeah, and this is Sandy at Play for Ministry. I'll be talking to you later.